the Deputy Controller for Audit and Investigation, and Nasa Alicina, our General Counsel and Deputy Controller for Legal Affairs. We're here today because, as we all know, New York City has been hit hard by COVID-19. As painful as it is, I want to bring us back to early March, when New York City was at the epicenter of this pandemic. We had an unprecedented closures of schools and businesses and overnight closures of subways, an economic shutdown that brought devastating job losses. Hospitals were overrun. Emergency rooms were overwhelmed. The wail of ambulance sirens became New York City's daily soundtrack, and our most vulnerable communities were especially devastated. People of color, seniors, immigrants, single parents, and New Yorkers in overcrowded households. Thousands of our loved ones and neighbors suffered alone in hospital beds or died by themselves in their homes. It was truly our darkest hour. Every New Yorker has been impacted by this pandemic. And every New Yorker deserves to have its government work effectively to prepare for and respond to this crisis. And that's why in May, I launched an investigation into the city's preparedness for and response to COVID-19. You see, we want to determine how the city became aware of the threat and what information the city was processing ahead of major decisions, including the shutdown of city schools and cancellation of large public gatherings. This investigation will help New Yorkers understand how strategies were developed to protect public health and to learn from what worked and what didn't to improve future emergency response efforts. In June, after the city failed for a month to produce any documents or even provide a schedule of when they would release them, I issued a subpoena. 6 months after launching our investigation, instead of fully and timely complying with the subpoena, the city has stalled, delayed, and stymied our work. And that's why today we have taken action to force the city to promptly and fully comply with the subpoena. And I want to be clear, I do not take this action lightly. The job of government is to work collaboratively to serve the taxpayers. My office has repeatedly made attempts to accommodate the city to ensure that its production of documents does not in any way interfere with the ongoing pandemic response. But time and time again, the city has missed deadlines to turn over documents, several of which they set for themselves, their own timeline, and they missed those deadlines. And in October, we learned that the City Law Department had not even started collection of those documents we requested from City Hall, and we still have yet to see any production from the Department of Health and Health and Hospitals. Now the city is saying that they can't give us everything we asked for until late April at the earliest, nearly a year after we launched our investigation. As we stare down a potential second wave, this investigation has become even more vital. New Yorkers deserve all parts of government working together to make sure that everything that can be done is done to keep us safe. New Yorkers deserve to know what we knew, when we knew it, and what we did about it. That's how we learn from our past experiences and improve on them as we continue to battle this pandemic. That's how we prepare for the next public health crisis. With every delay, with every obstruction, and every attempt to evade oversight, the city is denying New Yorkers the open and honest government they deserve. My office will not stand for it. I won't stand for it. I have a charter-mandated responsibility to complete this work. And that is why today we have gone to court and made this filing. I'm happy to take any questions for legal team and myself.
What is the court action? Like, so you filed this here before, so what, can you give us like details about
Yes.
what's happening?
Yes. Let me bring up our lawyers, Marjorie.
Good morning. This morning we commence a special proceeding to compel full compliance of the subpoena that was issued in June, requesting a deadline of December 31st, 2020.
Take your time.
It's different than a normal summons and complaint. What we've done is we've created a petition based on the subpoena with the comptroller's subpoena authority. We've done this before as an office, and we've asked for an expedited proceeding. We hope the court will grant it.
Is this like an Article 78 or a...
It's like that, but it's not literally an Article 78. It's a special proceeding that happens where we have subpoena power. It's an administrative subpoena, and we can go to court and have them enforce it. So we turn it into an action via petition. But it's like a 78, but not exactly.
And it's in Manhattan?
It's in Manhattan Supreme.
So Marjorie, I'm not sure if this is for you or for Scott. You guys first asked them for this stuff in May, right? How many emails as of today have they turned over? Total number.
We only just got our first email production at the end of October, so we can tell you the number of pages. We cannot tell you how many emails there are in there. We've asked for them starting in May, you remember that. So at the end of October, I think it was the 27th, there could have been, there's somewhere, more than 30,000 pages of documents. They include some emails. They represented, they're from emergency management and fire. We're going through them now, so I can't give you a precise number.
But it's just limited to those two agencies, correct?
Yeah.
So zero from...
And that's exactly the point. So, yes, they have given us some pages of documents from the agencies that I would call important, but not the priority or the centerpiece of the investigation. Zero from H&H, zero from the Department of Health, and equally important, zero from the mayor's office. So we basically have gotten zero documents. So, look, I get what they're doing. That's why we're in court. They're slow walking this. They don't want us to do our due diligence. I really don't know what they're hiding, but I've had enough. This is this is a very unusual investigation because this really is about a pandemic that has ravaged the city, and that we should be already going over documents and emails, making sure that we can align the documents with the witnesses we are calling, so that we can do a full investigation. And again, this investigation is not only to talk about what went wrong, but it's also to memorialize what went right as we move forward with COVID, a possible second wave. And let's face it, there's things that come our way that we never anticipate. And the reason we need to do this work is to ensure that we develop protocols going forward to better protect our citizens.
Are you just looking for emails, or what's sort of the nature of the documents?
Emails, documents, everything that's relating to the request for information.
What else is in there besides emails, though?
Sure, we broadly spell out we're looking for information about medical advice that they've seen, prescriptions about how to best protect the citizens, projections about what communities are going to be hurt and suffer from this illness, what kind of equipment is needed. I mean, it's a full range of things. So it will be contained in emails, memos, and, it's for them to show us what else.
Just to add to that, one of the document requests that we are seeking is information with respect to what medical devices were needed, what was necessary to really deal with the pandemic. And that ties to the contracts that were subsequently entered into, and that's how it ties to this investigation, because of the charter mandated role to deal with the finances and really investigate and audit the finances of the city.
No, my sense, and remember, we've been down this road before. You know, we had the Rivington investigation. We looked into a whole lot of City Hall mismanagement, but this is their way of slowing it down until they don't have to answer this while they're at City Hall. And this is too serious an issue to just let it go. This is not a typical time, and it's not a typical investigation. And I would not be doing my job and our charter-mandated audit and investigation responsibilities if we just let this slip away. And today's action in court signifies our line in the sand that we are going to get this information. We're not waiting till April. This is very easy to do. No frontline worker has to be involved in collecting these documents. They have a whole lot of lawyers at the law department. Surely one lawyer can get us the documents and the emails, and we want to compel them to do it now.
What happens now? Is the judge has to rule that you're entitled to this, and do you have a sense of when that will happen?
It's now really in the hands of the court. We've asked for an expedited proceeding. We've made a case that it is really urgent. Time really is of the essence for this matter. So we hope the court hears it quickly and gives us a ruling quickly. And then the ruling we seek is that they order the city to produce the documents by a date certain. We've asked for the end of the year.
Is this the first time you've ever done this since you've been in comptroller?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we've had to issue subpoenas, but we've never taken this direct action. This is the first time we've ever gone to court to compel City Hall to turn over documents that we've requested.
What do you expect you'll find when you get all these documents?
Look, what we want to determine is, what we want to be able to do is set a timeline for everything that happened, especially at the onset of the virus. Made it very clear. We want to know when they knew, what they did about it, what agencies were involved, what was the interaction with the agencies, what was the role at City Hall. Many reports have come out about a whole host of issues that we should delve deeper in. And again, we have now given enough time so that we can give them the opportunity to give us these documents, and then we'll come back and issue our report and our recommendations. Again, this is not about gotcha. This is good government. This is about being transparent. This is about owning up to the fact that not everything went right, but not everything went wrong. And we have to create a timeline so that we can better assess what we do in the beginning. The fact that they are withholding information, the fact that they're not coming clean about the issues that we requested does cause me concern based on the track record of the mayor and City Hall. So I am concerned.
What would you, the mayor, I think he talked a little bit about this, with some of the stories about procurement and stuff. He's basically said, look, it was a pandemic, we were sort of building the plane while we were flying it, and it's unfair to throw tomatoes at us.
We're not throwing tomatoes. That's what he doesn't understand. It's not about him, right? But when you fly a plane, you got to make sure that the engine was working and that the wings were firm. And that while we landed in turbulence, we have to figure out that the next flight we land better and more safely. And that's what this investigation is about. So he should step aside and let us do our charter-mandated work, and then let the agencies come in, have a conversation, and then we will arrive at a place where we can perhaps make government work better and more effective. We're talking about people's lives. People died. People did not get protective equipment as soon as they needed it. There were gaps in this whole pandemic. We've got to fill that in, tell the story. And by the way, we owe this to the sons and daughters of the parents and grandparents who passed away. My mother is included in that, and I want to make sure that we will not lose any more of our parents and grandparents. We have too many kids who do not have their relatives, and we have to find out why that happened, what we could have done better, and then we also have to say what we did well, because if we can show the good part of what we did, this will inform other cities around the country who are now grappling with COVID as well. So let me say this. Thank you all for coming. I know it's cold. We'll be around today to answer any questions. Thank you all for coming out. Be safe. Stay warm.